Hey everyone, welcome to Just Us Bros podcast. As always, I'm Hokey Joker, and today we're going to talk about something different. We're not going to just have me, Bat Drew, and Green Lantern. We have a fellow Red Hood cosplayer, an artiste, if you will, AJ. AJ, how's it going out there?
It's going pretty good. Happy to be here and talk
Yeah,
everything nerd and life.
yeah,
We'll talk about anything.
yeah. So AJ, me and you we've both cosplayed as Red Hood. You have one of the helmets that I've made and sold. So, what brings you to the nerd community? Because when did you start?
So I've kind of like always been like in the nerd community. Like video games have always been like a part of my life. And I remember like sports and video games and like the Power Rangers growing up. Power Rangers were like a big deal to me.
Yeah.
Um, and I started getting into like collecting habits. Like when I was young, I was collecting like Pokemon cards and sports cards, and then my first comic, like it really stuck out to me. And like it is like, I don't know if you can see it. It's this one
The
with
Reign
like
of the
background.
Superman?
It
Oh yeah.
is, yeah. So this is like the full foil cover and, the actual issue of the death of Superman.
Oh wow.
And I have like
So
this whole placard thing just like up on my wall, like of that exact one. And since then, like, comic books have been kind of like more like relatable and, like reading some of these stories, like, I mean, the origin stories of a hero is never great.
yeah.
So, I mean,
So and when did you get into cosplaying at first? Because I'm a little bit of a late bloomer. I got into my mid 20s about not almost 9 years ago. How did
oh,
you get into it?
so my first Comic Con was in Dubai,
Wow.
and
Dubai.
it was like their first Comic Con, and I was like, well, we can't exactly dress up, because I'm out here working. So I started like walking around seeing all these awesome cosplays, like, like you wouldn't like expect to see like that amount of cosplay in the Middle East. And like some of these were just mind blowing. And I thought to myself, I was like, if I were to cosplay, like who would I be? And like easily Jason Todd, Red Hood.
Yeah. So what makes you like love Jason Todd as a character so much?
Um, I mean, his story is a little brutal. I mean, like you can tell, like my background picture, the Joker killed him, and he just comes back from that the Lazarus pit and just kind of all sorts of jacked up, and he has it out for Bruce, and he just wants to make his life hell. He doesn't play with the like his opponents either, like the mob, nothing.
Boom, boom, boom. He's
Just guns blazing always.
yeah,
Um and yeah, I showed you like the pictures of like my photo shoot that I did in the cosplay. Like
yeah.
um we went to like a cemetery. I was holding like the Robin mask and like a bloodied rose, and it was more of like, I'm like paying homage to like an old self that
Yeah.
doesn't exist anymore. So
So and you're getting to the point of it is like when you said you went to Dubai that Comic Con and you saw all these great costumes, you might not have known the characters, but be like, holy shit, that's a pretty cool costume.
yeah,
Well,
like
and
I've
that
seen,
yeah, now you're sort of transforming this into your to an art form because that's a really great photo. I mean, it looks like it was after a late night of crime fighting, but I know we have a little bit of a photography background. You said that
mhm.
you shot that like as the sun was going down,
Yeah, I
right?
shot it as it was going down, and like um during the critiques for this like class I'm in for like photography, people mentioned that they're like, like it's crazy, like you have the sun to your back, and like it seems like the sun is rising, and the environment out here, like with the gray backgrounds, it just kind of like paints the picture like way, way, way more crazier.
So, and I know I've talked to you a little bit off of this, but when you're going through a rough time, a lot of us are. I am currently right now, but
Yeah.
um, sort of this stuff is it gives you something to look forward to, and cosplaying like you put on the helmet, you put on the suit, whatever, and you're walking into a big convention center full of nerds, and your worries just sort of wash away. Do you sort of get that same feeling when you dress up in any way, shape, or form?
Um, a little, but I haven't exactly worn anything to the cosplay yet because like I had just finished this cosplay. Like, I was at a point in my life like when I decided to do this, I wanted to do this for like 7 years.
Wow.
And, my mind wasn't at the right point, my finances weren't at the right point. Um, just, all around it was just wasn't ready for it. And then this year I was like, like I'm retired, money's flowing good, I have no debts. Um, I made it a point to like anytime I have a goal, like I pursue it like relentlessly. Like I don't do what ifs anymore. And I just if I want to do something, like I'm gonna find the steps that are gonna make me accomplish it and I'm gonna do it.
So
And
when you're doing all this stuff, do you find meaning in what you're doing? Like when you with that photo shoot, when you put on the helmet, did you feel a sense of like it's helped getting you be where you want to be in life and just be a happier person?
oh, absolutely. Like when I put on like the full outfit and like I cap it off with like the mask, like it's the last thing that goes on.
Yeah, you gotta.
And it's like, the Red Hood does whatever the hell he wants.
Yeah.
And, you know, his old overseer, Bruce Wayne isn't going to stop him. I mean, he may align with him, but I mean, it's not really like an anti-hero or anti-villain type thing. It's just, this is a man that's chasing his goals, his objectives, and he's going to stop at nothing to do it. And
And
that's where I relate.
that's awesome. And I know we've talked about other like sort of fandoms. I know I mean you said Power Rangers, it when we both lost a childhood hero and Jason David
Yeah.
Frank a couple months ago, and just to see the outpouring of how much people loved him, and we could talk about what Power Rangers did. Thus, I mean, I was always Jason. I always was the Red Power Ranger. Was
Oh
that
yeah.
you or
No, I was always the Green Ranger. And then like when he turned
okay?
like, because he always fell on that fine line. Like he was working for Rita, became a Power Ranger. And then, when he renewed himself, he became the White Ranger. But
It'll be interesting to see what that was it the 30th anniversary coming out with when they're bringing back a bunch of the old Rangers
yeah,
to see what happens because I've seen some stills of like behind the scenes with the Green Ranger and stuff in there. Um, so when did you stop watching Power Rangers?
I stopped watching Power Rangers after they went into space.
Okay, like
So
during the space season or when space was over?
so it was, like when the command center got blown up at the very last like season end.
Yeah,
I really tried to get into that new season, but everything was different. Like it felt like the storyline just was like, oh, this is a whole different set of Power Rangers. And then they kind of just continued rolling with it with like, the Dino Force, RPM.
yeah.
It just
I
never
stopped
felt the
watching.
same.
Yeah, yeah. I stopped watching after Wild Force. Um, but and we also talked about because around that time when I was really into anime. We all love anime. We can talk
Yeah.
day and night. I watch
Yes.
Dragon Ball Z was me, Yu Yu Hakusho, like right when Toonami was really kicking off. But
Yeah.
one that I think we both talked about was Gundam.
Yes. So I've always been like obsessed with Gundams. Like Gundam Wing was my favorite.
Yeah,
And once I saw like Endless Waltz, I there was that was like my all-time favorite one. And then like I was a fan of the Epion, the one that kind of makes the pilots crazy, things like
yeah.
that. And it's just like I still have like my model kits behind me that like I'm getting ready to sell because I have way too many Gundam kits. Like I must have built at least 70, 80 of these things.
Oh, I had them too. I really got into the Gundam Wing models when they came out.
Yeah.
But then my favorite series was the G Gundam. I mean, with the Neo's America's
Yeah.
Neo Japan, Domo and Kashu, Rain, Shining Gundam, God Gundam, or Burning Gundam as they call it over here. And that was just it's always like back when I was a kid. I grew up in the mountains of Virginia. You had like two people that
That
really
we're
got
into
into
it.
that.
Yeah.
Now that we're adults, you can like go on message boards and talk to people. And I think that's a great thing is you're in out on the West Coast, I'm on the East Coast, and we're having this conversation right now. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
I mean, it all started, with, the red hood that you sent me. And I was so happy when that thing arrived. And like I had, the red hood helmet already, but like this was the one that I wanted. And I must have been looking for one for at least like a week that I thought was going to be appropriate for me.
Yeah.
And
And
it just
I just yeah, I just finished
worked.
making up another one. I didn't finish it. I still got to pad it and put new lights in it. That's I had to go buy new paint, new sandpaper. It's not like I'm cranking these bad boys out. I'm putting effort into it. They're not mass produced. But and also you do a little stuff on the side where it doesn't just have to be with nerds. You also have an Instagram account which is It's Heartless with no vowels. HRTXLSS_designs. Can you tell me about that Instagram?
So my childhood best friend and I, we're still best friends. I mean, he lives in Texas, and I was I was in Virginia at the time when he and I were talking about this. I was in quarantine for COVID for pre-deployment stuff. Like this is when COVID first kicked off,
Yeah.
and I was just kind of like talking to him about like my financial woes because like I would tell him like pretty much anything. This dude has seen everything about my life. And he's like, I want to start a business with you. He's like, I'm not creative and you are. He's like, but I think we would do something like great together. So we're trying to, get this thing going off the ground. I'm trying to kick out more designs. And it was just what really sparked it for me was like when we finally got like the stuff onto a shirt or a hoodie and things like that. Um, just seeing like the first sales run, like while I was deployed in Kuwait to like it was a lot of support from like people nearby, and like you would see these hoodies in the gym, people are working out in these things, and it was just like this weird satisfaction that someone is like appreciating what you created, and like it's like I don't know, it's like a very fulfilling feeling.
And of course we'll link this on our YouTube channel, on our Spotify, and all that stuff. But are you guys still selling some of that stuff? Because you got some pretty cool ass designs.
We do. Right now we're still on our like temporary Streamlabs or Stream Elements link. It's kind of like a hybrid between the Heartless designs and his stream handle, but all the merchandise is still there, and we're looking at expanding and making more designs, do some patches sort of like this.
Wait, did you guys make that hat too?
No, I actually bought this from another company, but I like the idea of it because there's skulls underneath the brim too.
Oh
And I
wow,
was
that's pretty
like,
cool.
like I'm not taking ideas, but it's helping me generate ideas for my own thing.
Well, then I have to ask though, because since you design all this stuff, what do you think about our t-shirts design? Because I got multiple of these.
I dig it. Like I just got like finally like my first set of the Heartless clothes coming in the mail.
Oh wow,
I was like, what kind of person would I be if I didn't wear my own stuff that I created and
yeah.
sell to everybody else? I mean, what does that tell people?
You got
So
to rock your brand, yeah.
you have to rock your brand. I mean, you are your brand.
With all this stuff going on in life, you got you're in school with your art. You just wrapped that up. Hopefully, it was a great quarter for you. Cosplaying, traveling. Your hoodies, your shirts that you're making. Like, what is something like you're trying to get out there? What's a message that you want people to know at any walk of life? It doesn't just have to be for us nerds.
I mean, so everybody has the potential to do what they want to do, but it's up to you to take those steps into the direction that you want to go. When you are feeling like you're held back, ask yourself why you're being held back. And 99% of the time, the answer is going to be because you're holding yourself back. And I had to learn that, the hard way. I'm 35 years old, and just leaving the military, I had to like I wasn't being like my hand wasn't being held by the government anymore, and I wasn't being restricted. So um I said I told people, they're like, oh, so what are you gonna do after the military? Well, I'm gonna go to school for graphic design. And the quarter was great, and the the difference is if you're not like disciplined enough to chase your goals, then those goals are just gonna stay dreams.
And why graphic design though? Because is it about conveying? Or are you just an artist deep down?
Um so a lot of people have seen me as like an artistic or creative type, though like I wasn't really showing that off. Like the military, they would ask for like creative people to design patches and shirts and stuff like that, and I was often tasked to do it, even if I didn't want to do it. But um,
Voluntold.
voluntold, yeah, that's the term. Because a lot of people, they don't want to volunteer for that kind of thing, and they're just like, hey, you look creative, you're gonna do it. But graphic design was more of a course I decided to take to help sharpen the tools that I already have and learn new ones, because like I just finished my Illustrator class today. I've never touched Illustrator before this class. Um, that I was going to sharpen the tools that I have to help improve the quality of my design for whatever brands I decide to start or continue. And things like that. But graphic design also is like a good fallback plan, for the future. Like if the business isn't doing good for me, then at least it pays well on the outside.
Yeah. So when since you are former military, what how do you feel when people come up to you and say thank you for your service? Do you feel like because I've gotten a mixed reaction on some of that.
I mean, it kind of is a mixed reaction, but it's more of like I appreciate them for recognizing it, but I'm also one of those vets that doesn't go out, wearing the hat, rocking the t-shirt. I think the only thing that like really reveals I'm a veteran is my retiree ID and my license plates. That is like the only thing that screams military. I don't keep the haircut. I don't keep really the same mannerisms.
Yeah, it's funny because I live out here near military bases. Whenever I go check out, and like military discount, I'm like, hey, what do you think? Look how long the hair is. Look at the beard. Do I look like I'm in the military? But and also I show them the beer belly, but that's another thing. I don't feel comfortable showing that on camera. But with anybody going on, everything, everybody's got something going on in their life. Do you have any other advice for someone who's going through a hard time? Because you've been in those situations. Some of us that we some things that we can't even imagine. What can you say to those people going through tough times?
I would say that tough times don't last, but tough people do. And you can stay down for a little bit, you know, a minute, 10 minutes, 5 minutes. Just just get up and dust yourself off and don't let it keep you down. I mean, you're gonna fail. You're gonna fail repeatedly, but you're gonna learn something every time, and eventually you're gonna succeed from all the lessons you learned from your failures.
Well, AJ, thank you so much. And guys, if you want to check out his designs, go to HRTXLSS_designs on Instagram. He's got hoodies, t-shirts, all that stuff. And hey, AJ, thank you so much for joining us. You're the best.
Hey man, anytime. And thanks for being awesome. I appreciate you greatly. I mean, this is a great opportunity.
And guys, for Cast Your Calls, I'm Hokey Joker. And always, cheers.
Cheers.